The sun's rays have warmed the earth up and it's all been twiddling along fine, and what happens is the sun's rays warm up land and sea, and as an automatic balance the heat then dissipates out back into space and it's been going fine for a while. Carbon dioxide acts as a sort of a lid, and what happens is the sun's heat gets through, but the more carbon dioxide there is in the atmosphere, it doesn't get out, the heat doesn't leave, so the earth warms up. So releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere creates a lid, which is a problem. The consulting engineer for all of my career has turned to a gas boiler for heat. So if you imagine it just takes gas, burns it burns the hot water's heated and it's pumped around a building. So for years they've just turned to the catalogue of gas boilers and put them in. Releasing carbon by burning old stuff. So dead old stuff like trees that are down way in the ground as coal or natural gas. If we burn them, it reacts with the oxygen in the air, so carbon dioxide goes up and creates the lid, which stops the heat getting out of the earth. So burning dead old stuff is a problem. Gases, for instance, in my house. Coal, we're importing a little bit now, we don't use it as much, but still the majority of heating that's done in the UK is done by burning old stuff, natural gas. In 2022, legislation changed dramatically, which affected us, affected boiler manufacturers, affected heat pump manufacturers, and affected how buildings are heated using hot water. Consultant engineers and designers knew that this change was coming and acted well at the time. So if you imagine an apprentice in the 1980s, 1990s, brought up on gas boilers, had to radically change what he was going to do from 2022. There'll be times, there is now in place, where you cannot heat a building using a gas boiler to pass the building regulations. Boiler manufacturers had to change their direction dramatically. Obviously there's still a big market for boilers, certainly domestic, where people are just replacing their boilers at home. However, they knew that this change was coming. Boiler manufacturers all of a sudden became heat pump manufacturers as well as gas boiler manufacturers. Some imported, some badged, but yes, it was a radical change for a boiler then. The change in 2022 in Part L was a fundamental change in mechanical services for the heating of buildings. It was a big turning point in how designers and consulting engineers go about specifications and building it. It was fundamental change. The main reason would be if you were a young engineer and you were coming along to heat a building, you would turn to your boiler catalogue, you would pick a 200, 300, 400 kilowatt boiler. Off that you would have set temperatures, off that you would have pumps, and it would just pump your central heating around a building like you're slightly familiar with at home. All of a sudden you had to find an alternative, and the alternative was electrically driven heat pumps. So we now have a young engineer, for instance, who would now, if he wanted to heat a building, have to turn to a completely different set of equipment with all of its different limits, electrically driven.